Hello students, today we are going to start the next part, that is process of recombinant DNA technology. Already we have completed the tools of genetic engineering where we have completed the enzymes, tools, second tool is the vector, and the third tool we have discussed is the host. How we can make the host a recombinant, then after that we will go for the commercial purpose. So just see that in this process of recombinant DNA technology, how many steps are there so that we can follow the process. So first of all, from first to last, how we can able to get the DNA fragments, then after that we get the rDNA, and how in commercial purpose the host can be multiplied. All of this thing we are going to see now. So first of all, in the step 1, what we are going to do, this isolation of DNA. So how can we able to find the DNA? Because we know that the DNA is present inside a cell, isn't that? So first of all, we know that suppose this is one eukaryotic cell, okay, so it will have the cell membrane also, nuclear membrane also. So here the DNA will be also present, RNA will be also there, isn't that? DNA, RNA, then along with that we need to know this also, that DNA actually are packed with a protein structure, that is the histone protein. So surrounding the histone protein, our gene fragments, the DNA, that are actually present. So protein is actually helping wrapping the long DNA fragment into a very minute, even microscopic structure inside the nucleus. So if we need a gene fragment from that nucleus, then how can we are able to get it, right? So the thing is, first of all, how we can able to isolate. So first step we will see. First of all, to that cell, what we are going to add an enzyme, that is the lysing enzyme, right? So whenever this lysing enzyme we use, then what will happen? The DNA fragments will be exposed actually by breaking the cell membrane, the nuclear membrane and cell membrane both, because the nuclear membrane and the cell membrane, both of them, they are made up of the same phospholipid bilayer. So whenever we use this lysing enzyme, then what will happen? The DNA fragments will be exposed in that mixture. So now in that we don't have the cell membrane, because cell membrane is going to break, and the plasma membrane as well as the nuclear membrane, both of them, they are going to get completely lysed, okay. But then also our DNA fragments are present somewhere here along with the histone protein, and along with that we are going to have the RNA also, isn't that? So DNA, RNA, protein, everything is here. How can we separate the DNA? Because whenever we are separating the DNA, along with that the RNA will also come, the protein will also come, because protein is even present here in the middle, isn't that? Because the DNA is packed, they are wrapped around the protein segment, protein part, that is the histone protein. So how can we are able to separate the DNA only, not the RNA and the protein? So here what we are going to have the next process, that is by addition of the another enzymes. So what are those enzymes? So first of all, the enzyme is the RNase, okay. So we are going to add RNase enzyme, and the second one is the protease enzyme, okay. So whenever we add the RNase enzyme, then what will happen? The RNA, these are the red colored RNA, they are going to get digested, so there will be no RNA. Then surrounding this DNA, what we have, the DNA is packed around the histone protein. So after applying this protease enzyme, this protein part, that will be also digested, so protein will be removed. So as the protein is removed, what will happen? We are going to have only the DNA segments, right? Now in that mixture we are going to have only the DNA. So after getting even the DNA, we cannot separate it out, isn't that? It's not possible that by utilizing one spatula we can separate it out. It's not like that. So for that process, what we are going to have a technique. That technique is the spooling technique, okay. So after that we are going to have the step, that is the spooling process. So in this spooling procedure, what happens? Suppose this is the test tube, right? So in the test tube we are going to add, suppose in the test tube what we have, this mixture, okay, that means the enzyme RNase is here, DNase is here, not DNAs, RNAs and protease are here. So the fragments of RNA, the fragments of protein, then along with that the DNA, they are also present. Suppose DNAs are present like that. Okay. Now after that, in the spooling technique, we'll just separate it out. How we can able to separate it out? By the spooling technique. So in the spooling technique, what actually happens? We will add chilled ethanol. Okay, so whenever we use the chilled ethanol, then what happened? The chilled ethanol will be present here, isn't that? This is the chilled ethanol. Now whenever we add the chilled ethanol into that mixture, then what happened? The DNA fragments, they will get separated. They will just get precipitated somewhere here. Okay, so DNA fragment will get just separated like that. Okay, because there's two mixtures where we have this RNase, protease, and along with the cytoplasm is also here. That two liquids, chilled ethanol and the mixture, they are not going to completely dissolve. Okay, they are not going to dissolve in any one of them. They completely are separated. DNA fragments will be somewhere present in the middle of these two mixtures. Okay. Then after that, by using the glass rod, okay, by using the glass rod or just a spatula, we will just separate out the DNA segments. So what is the spooling technique? Spooling technique is nothing but after applying all these enzymes, what we can do that add chilled ethanol so that the DNA fragments can be precipitated and we can separate the DNA fragments from the mixture of chilled ethanol and the cytoplasmic or that cytoplasm content of the cell. So this way we have separated the DNA fragments. Now after separating the DNA fragments, how we can able to get the DNA fragments, isn't that? So we will have the next step. Okay, what is the step? That is fragmentation of the DNA by restriction endonuclease. So after that, suppose we get the DNA fragments. Okay, these are the DNA, long DNA suppose. Now this DNA will be allowed by this restriction endonuclease. Suppose this is the restriction enzyme. So this restriction enzyme will cut the DNA fragment in its specific segment, isn't that? In its specific region. Suppose in that region, palindromic sequence, they are forming sticky and blunted, anything but DNA fragments have been cut. Now after that, the next step, that is isolation of the desired gene fragment or the desired gene or the desired DNA fragment. How can we separate the DNA fragments? Here the question arises that actually for that we require one step. That step is the gel electrophoresis. Okay, so in this process, gel electrophoresis, we can able to separate the DNA fragments depending upon two stages. One is the density gradient and second one is the isoelectric point or isoelectric focusing. After that, we will get the desired gene fragments. So whenever we get, suppose this is the desired gene fragment we get, okay, then after that, this step, the fourth step here is recombinant DNA construction. That means whenever we get the gene fragments here, what we are going to do, we just make the vectors will be also cut in that specific region. Suppose this is the vector will be cut in this specific region. Then after that, this will be added, make the recombinant DNA. Okay, rDNA we have constructed. How? By adding the restriction endonuclease enzyme. Then after that, we have to add the ligase enzyme. Then the DNA fragment, our desired DNA fragment, which we have separated from this long processes, will just make the rDNA. Right? Now this rDNA, see, transferring the rDNA into the host body. So this rDNA will be inserted inside a host body. Suppose we have taken the host, that is the E. coli. Okay, inside the E. coli, we are going to have the gene rDNA into the host body. Now this host body will be a completely a recombinant host. Now after that, this recombinant host, we just make one, isn't that? In this, suppose commercial purpose, we want a specific product, then when we can go for commercial use. So how we can able to make the quantities, more quantities out of this suppose recombinant host, we need to add in bioreactor. So in the bioreactors, so see the next step 6 is the culturing the host in the commercial scale. So how can we able to culture this recombinant host into a large scale? By adding the bioreactors. Okay, so in the bioreactors, large like suppose 1 ton, 2 ton bioreactors are available. In those bioreactors, our recombinant host is going to multiply in millions of copies, millions of numbers, and after that what we can go extraction of the desired product. Suppose after that we have got a number of recombinant hosts. So they just made a number of recombinant hosts. Then after that, from this bioreactor, we'll just separate, we will just extract the desired gene product or desired product. Not only the gene, but it can be protein also. We will just extract the desired product by a process that is called as downstreaming processing. Okay, so by this downstreaming processing, we will just separate out our desired gene fragment. Now, after that, here everything we have discussed. Yeah, lots of things we have discussed. Like here we have discussed these things. That means lysing enzyme we have to add. Then after that, construction of RDNA, how the RDNA will be constructed, we have discussed that also. Then how the host can be penetrated with the RDNA, we have discussed that also. But we have not discussed the gel electrophoresis. That means after the gene fragments that have been cut by the restriction enzyme, how we can able to separate the gene fragments, right? So how can we able to separate the gene fragments? By the process called gel electrophoresis. So gel electrophoresis is a process by which we will able to separate the gene fragment by two process. One is the density gradient and second one is the isoelectric point. So we will see that right now. Hope you have understood these parts. From here, one point is going to be very much important, that is the spooling technique. So spooling technique, remember that this is important. So let's just see electrophoresis now. After that, see the process of electrophoresis. First of all, we should know the definition. What is the process of electrophoresis? It's a process of separation of the DNA fragments or the gene fragments depending upon two complete separate process. One is the isoelectric point and the another one, that is the density gradient. Okay, so on this actually two-dimensional processes, we just separate out the gene fragments. So we should know, before coming to the point, we need to know the importance, actually why we will go for the electrophoresis process. Yes, it is helping in lots of processes like DNA fingerprinting. You know that now, in every individual we have different fingerprints. Similarly, the DNAs, they will also DNA fingerprinting, that is also different for all the individuals, right? Next one, in criminology, in crime scenes, we can able to get the samples from the suppose crime scene, and after that we can able to find out the gene fragment, their bending pattern, and we can find out the criminals. Next one, in genetics, whenever it's related to the isolation of the gene fragment, we have to depend on electrophoresis. Then also for the paternity test, that means whether the child is of their biological or adopted, we can able to get it a clear testing by which we can able to find out the biological child or the adopted child. their gene fragments, they are going to be different. That is actually coming under DNA fingerprinting. You will get in another chapter, that is molecular basis of inheritance, but here this electrophoresis process we will see. First of all, the procedure, see, this is isoelectric point. So what is isoelectric point or isoelectric focusing? It's actually a pH. It's a pH at which charged molecules lose their charge. Okay, they don't actually start to move after they are focused. So that is known as the isoelectric focusing. So how can we understand properly? See, this is one plate. Okay, in that plate we will have this liquid. Then after that, here we will add the charge, that means electricity. So here we know that the gene fragments, the DNA, they are negatively charged because of the presence of the phosphate group. Phosphate means acid, it's acidic in nature, right? So here we will add the charges here, that is from the positive pole here, and this is the negative pole here. Okay, so we have the cathode and anode that will be attached on either side. Then after that, whenever we add into one electric current, okay, then what will happen? Whenever electricity will run from this gel, that is now here, this is the horizontal plane. Okay, so in that horizontal plane, the DNA fragments, how they will get separated? See, here the process is the isoelectric point. So whenever we run the electricity, then here in this also we will have one pH meter that will be also developed. Suppose this is the pH 0, this is somewhere middle 7, and here suppose it is 40. If you put the DNA fragments here also, then also the DNA fragments will start to move towards the pole. Okay, so what will happen? See, now first of all, the DNA fragments, they will get separated, right? So what will happen here, that we will keep the DNA fragments. Okay, first of all, see, so the DNA fragments, if you place in a gel plate, horizontal gel plate, then they will start to move. Okay, so the DNA fragments, they will be, okay, so here this is the, okay, we will put here, this is the negative pole and this is the positive pole. Okay, now the DNA fragments we will put here. DNA is negatively charged. Whenever electricity will run, they will run towards the positive pole, right? So here we will put the gene fragment. Suppose these are the gene fragment. Okay, these are the gene fragment. Okay, now to all of them, they will start to move towards the positive pole. So we will develop a pH, and in that specific pH, whenever that DNA fragment, this is charged molecule, negatively charged, so whenever they will lose their charge, then what will happen? Even after you allow them to move, we are having this electricity run in this plate, then also the DNA fragments will not gonna move, right? So just see the DNA fragments. Suppose this is the DNA fragment here, this moving, passing this much, traveling this much distance, and this is the pH, suppose 5, right? So in this 5, the DNA fragments actually lose their charge, and after that it get completely focused in that pH. Okay, that means it is losing the charge, so that's why it is not moving towards the positive pole. Second one, this snakes, suppose they are traveling to this, and here the isoelectric point is suppose 9. In this, it's being stable. Next one, this DNA fragment is suppose moving in this electric field. Then after that, in this pH, suppose 12 pH, it get focused. Okay, so what is it? This is the isoelectric point. Now we get the different gene fragment, and it is all going to have they are actually all focused in its isoelectric point. So this is the normal procedure by which we can separate out the gene fragment depending upon their electricity, their charge in it, right? Now we have to separate the gene fragments, suppose, depending upon their weight. Okay, then what we have to do, we will just separate out the density gradient. So here nothing is there. What we have to do, we just take the whole plate. Okay, so we'll take the whole plate here, right? Now the gene fragments, the gene fragments are present here in this pH 5, suppose, this is at pH 9, suppose, and this is at pH 12, suppose. Okay, so the gene fragments, they are present in its different focus, in its different location. Now after that, we will take it in a vertical, complete vertical plate. Okay, so this is the agarose plate. So agar, it is actually available in the market. We can take it out, we add distilled water in it, we just make a slurry, and we will pour it into this one plate. Okay, so whenever we add the gel slurry into the plate and keep it rest for suppose 15 minutes or 20 minutes, it gets just like the jelly. Whatever the thickness of jelly is, we take jam jelly, that one, so the same thickness it is going to have. But this agar we have selected, why? Because it is going to have one porous matrix, so that it can allow the movement of the gene fragment. The smaller gene fragments will run faster, and the longer gene fragments, they will move in a very small distance. They will actually take more time to travel, and the smaller segments, they will run faster. Just imagine this one, suppose in the traffic, the four-wheeler we will not able to move, and the two-wheelers, they will go because of the small passage they need to move, so that's why they will go fast. Same thing will happen here. In a vertical way, in a vertical glass plate, we will just allow them to separate the fragments depending upon their weight. Understand? So what will happen, the gene fragments, they are going to just get separated. How? Now this gene fragments, they will just move. Okay, so the longer gene fragments, they will not able to run too fast, and the smallest gene fragment, they will travel in a longer distance within a small period of time. Okay, so this way what we can get, the gene fragments, they can be separated. But this way we can able to separate the gene fragments. Just don't confuse it with the centrifugation process. Why? Because in the centrifugation process, what happened, the molecules which are heavier, they deposit in the bottom, and the lighter molecules or the elements, they will actually precipitate in the upper layers, right? The heaviest will be in the bottom and the lightest will be in the top. But here the opposite thing is happening. In this density gradient electrophoresis process, what happened, the heavier molecule will be present on the surface, and the lightest molecule, DNA molecule, will move towards the bottom. Okay. Now after that, we can able to separate the gene fragments by just scooping. Like from the scoop, we can take the ice cream out. Same thing, by just one scoop we can able to take the gene fragment. But here the thing is, the gel electrophoresis, in this process, the gel plate, this is white, is translucent in color. DNA fragments will be also translucent in color. How we can able to separate it out? Isn't that so? For that process, what we have to take it, we have to see it, isn't that? So how can we see it? By a process. That process is what? That is actually, we can able to have radio level X-ray also, X-ray radiography also, we can able to find the gene fragment. Or we can able to just give one orange band. Okay, So here we will have the coloring. Okay, so one coloring agent is here. What is that? That is ethidium bromide. Okay, so by this ethidium bromide, if you pour it into this gel plate, then the gene fragments will appear orange. Okay, it will appear orange in this ethidium bromide, and if it is the X-ray crystal in this X-ray radiography, we will able to get gray color. Okay, but whatever the color it is, we can able to separate it out. Okay, so suppose we have added ethidium bromide, then after that one color is developed, that color is orange color. Now after that we can able to separate it out with the help of a scoop, and that process of scooping the gene fragment from this gel is known as elution process. This is called as elution process, by which we can able to separate the gene fragment from the gel plate, right? So this is the complete electrophoresis process. So in this electrophoresis process, we need to know, actually this is a two-dimensional process. Electrophoresis, one is the isoelectric point, another is the density gradient point. Then after that, for the separation, we have another technique also. If it is not elution process, then we can have lots of other processes like blotting technique. In this blotting technique, we just separate out the gene fragment from the agar plate into a nitrocellulose plate. If it is the Norden blotting, okay, just remember this one. We will not going to discuss here because it is not given in your syllabus. That is the technique called as blotting technique. So in this blotting technique, Norden blotting is used to separate out the DNA fragment. Okay, for the separation of the RNA fragments, we have the Southern blotting. Okay, then after that we will see that. Wait. So yes, if it is the DNA fragment, then it will be the Southern blotting, and if it is RNA, then we will have the Norden blotting. Okay, this way we can able to separate out. If it is suppose the Western blotting, then we can able to separate the protein because it is also charged. Okay, and if it is the lipid fragment, then we can have also another step, that is the Eastern blotting. Okay, Southern blotting for DNA fragment separation from the gel plate into a nitrocellulose plate. Northern blotting, by which we can separate, we can take the that RNA from the gel plate into a nitrocellulose plate. For the separation of protein, we have Western blotting, and for the separation of lipid, we have Eastern blotting. So this blotting technique is not given, so that's why we're not going to discuss, but just this one you have to remember. For DNA we have Southern blotting, for RNA we have Northern blotting, we have protein that is separated by Western blotting, and for the separation of the lipid we have Eastern blotting. So by this, actually we can able to separate the gene fragment, desired gene fragment, depending upon their electricity, their pH and the density. So this way we can complete separating the gene fragment. We can take it out, make the rDNA, insert into the host, make the host a recombinant host, and after that we will go for the commercial process. Then we will add it into the bioreactor, where it will grow, multiply in a huge scale. So this way we can able to separate out, we can take the desired fragment or desired product from the bioreactors in a very huge scale for the utilization of the people. So this is the process of electrophoresis. You have, I hope you understood this process. So from the NCERT also you have to see how actually whole test processes are given. They're not mentioning the two complete separate processes. In one process they have completed. You can compile it and you can write it down by yourself. So that's all about the electrophoresis. I hope you understand. Thank you.